Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and someone asked me a question from the Q&As that I did on Monday when I had mentioned that you can't always deadlift heavy every day, and that if you're going to train the same lifts day after day after day, like 6 days a week, that the deadlift isn't something that you can hammer away heavy on multiple days in a row usually, particularly not if you're not using drugs. And people wanted to know, well, why is that? What's different about the deadlift versus, say, the squat? And I've done a video on this previously, but I don't think I have it on this channel. I don't remember if I do or not. And I'm going to put this in very simple layman's terms. I'm going to try to break the biomechanics down and put it in a way that people can understand. And it has to do with stored energy and starting strength. And if you think about it, when you do a squat, you start up high. You have the weight fully locked out. You have the weight on your shoulders and the weight presses down. And it presses you down as you lower it, like a spring loading up energy. You're extremely tight and your muscles have been heavily tensed and preloaded with energy when you're at the bottom of a squat. Your hamstrings, your quads, your glutes, all of that have stored the amount of force that you have on the bar into those muscles, because they had to lower it against resistance, and now they're holding tight against that resistance and they're coiled up like a spring. And you can now use that stored energy to help slingshot you out of the bottom. And since it's already stored, the muscle fibers have been pre-engaged very, very hard and loaded with energy already during the eccentric rep over a second or so. When you do a deadlift, it is a complete opposite effect. Because with the deadlift, there is no preloading. You start with a concentric rep. You're having to pull a very heavy weight, even more weight than you'd use on the squat most of the time, from a dead stop, purely on the concentric with no preloading. And in fact, on a deadlift, if you do not generate enough power and force, which means you don't get very, very high levels of muscle fiber recruitment in the first inch of the movement, breaking it off the floor, you won't be able to lock it out. And what you find is that actually the majority of the muscle fiber recruitment that you activate on a deadlift is actually generated in the first half second of the pull with no preloading. Whereas on a squat, it isn't. You've already preloaded this stuff all the way on the way down, and the strength curve coming out of the bottom is more gradual. You don't have to develop as much immediate power out of the bottom of a squat as you do on a deadlift to complete the rep. And accordingly, this taxes your nervous system, your peripheral nervous system, your central nervous system, all of that, much, much harder than most other lifts. And I hate it. I've had people try to say, well, does that account towards a box squat? No, because you still preloaded energy on the way down. There is no way to preload energy on the way down on a deadlift. Even a touch and go deadlift, you're just using a bounce out of the bottom. You're not preloading energy because you're releasing energy on the way down with it, because it's a pulling motion and it's a reverse pull versus a press. So with the deadlift, you simply have no means to store energy, and you have to have maximum muscle fiber recruitment and maximum motor unit recruitment from your nervous system in the first inch of the movement, with no way to preload it. So it just taxes your nervous system considerably more than another lift would, like a squat. And that's one reason you can come in and hit a max squat 5 or 6 days in a row, or at least a training max, and still keep good numbers. You try that with a deadlift 6 days in a row, and it's probably not going to go very well for you for the majority of people. You're going to burn out much quicker. And that's why. It's because of the effect on the nervous system, and it has to do with the strain on the nervous system and how fast you have to turn on motor units with no pre-recruitment. It puts a lot of stress on it, and it takes more time and more energy by your body to recover from it. So hopefully that explains that a little better. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.